Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Business Digest. My name is Arthur Chokoto. Stories making headlines in the next half hour. ECAMA describes the Revenue Appeals Tribunal as the right step in making Malawi investor friendly. And the first ever organic fertilizer company in the country nears completion. Stick around for a full package of business and economic stories. The Economics Association of Malawi, ECAMA, has described the Revenue Appeals Tribunal as the right step in making Malawi investor-friendly. Now, chairperson, deputy chairperson, and registrar of the tribunal were sworn in on Monday in Blantyre. The tribunal will be hearing tax-related appeals, both existing and those that may be enacted from time to time. ECAMA President Betha Jigadza was at the swearing-in ceremony, and she explains in this interview with Justin Kwewu.
This is like a milestone. As you have noted, this is the first time we are having a revenue appeals tribunal, and for any tax system which is actually improving and it's trying to improve even revenue collection, a revenue appeals tribunal is actually important because it actually gives everyone something like a very good judicial process, which is cheaper, but also can be accessed by everyone. So this is actually good because it can also improve revenue collection because it will actually remove all these backlogs that or any other money that tends to be locked up in maybe judicial cases that come with tax. The expectation of ECAMA is that we might see some improvement in terms of tax revenue correction because we've been complaining about tax leakage, we've been complaining about cases of taxes maybe being stuck in the judiciary, but probably also we've seen that a lot of taxes is being paid by low-income earners or those people who do not have enough money maybe to get their way into the judicial system and pay all the charges that maybe lawyers tend to charge.
On its part, government says the tribunal means a lot to the economy because it will expedite tax-related appeals and help government to generate tax revenue in time. The Secretary of the Treasury, Bechani Chereni, was also at the swearing-in ceremony in Blantyre, and he explains.
I hope I'm not in class, but there are a number of theories that are brought to the equation when you talk about tax payment. Some people make an assumption that people love to pay taxes, but the reality on the ground is that not everyone really wants to pay tax in that manner. So there are, areas where people are not happy when certain decisions in taxes and revenue in general have been made, and where such discomfort or indeed unhappiness has been registered, you need somebody to come in, somebody more independent who can now look at the facts properly, and then you are able to provide a proper determination. This is important. Why? Because without the tribunal, you end up not collecting revenues in time. There's no efficiency. So you can't have an MRA which is also a judge. You can't have an MRA which is being complained about, insisting on collecting certain taxes, but then people also not willing to pay those taxes. So the coming in of the tribunal is very important because then it means that such cases are going to be determined with efficiency, and then that efficient determination is going to give us the much needed revenue, which, when we talk about expenditure, when we talk about treasury, we are talking about expenditure on the one hand and the revenue on the other hand. So if we are talking about a rising deficit, for example, it's because the revenues are not enough. Those revenues are mainly tax revenues.
Josta Chisale was sworn in as the chairperson of the tribunal, and he pledges to expedite the appeals so that the country moves ahead.
First and foremost, let me start by saying that we are very excited to be the first executive of the Revenue Appeals Tribunal. It is something that has been in the offing for some time. As we heard from the Chief Justice, the Act was passed in 2021. So we have been waiting for this time, and very soon we'll be having an official launch of the tribunal. You will also be invited. We know there is a lot that is expected from us as the first tribunal. We would like to assure the public that we will do all that we can to be fair, to be impartial in our rulings and determinations as we discharge the statutory mandate that has been entrusted upon us by the Revenue Appeals Tribunal Act. We have our office in Blantyre, but under the Act we are supposed to open registries in the other regions. So to start with, we'll be here, but we intend to open registries in other places like Lilongwe, Mzuzu, and elsewhere. The duties of the tribunal will be to hear determinations of appeals from objection decisions of the Commissioner General of the Malawi Revenue Authority. What this means is that when the Commissioner General of the Malawi Revenue Authority makes a decision, this is what we are calling an objection decision, and the taxpayer is aggrieved by that decision, then the taxpayer is supposed to come to the Bureau to lodge an appeal. So we will be sitting and determining on these appeals.
Authorities for the first ever organic fertilizer company in the country have disclosed that the construction of the plant nears completion. Now, the chairperson of the Rural Development Investment Initiative, Rudavit, Hastings Bofomo Nyirenda, disclosed this when officials from Export Development Fund, EDF, toured the plant in Chileka, Blantyre. Nyirenda explained that the plant, which has already attracted significant investment, is being financed through a combination of shareholding contributions and partnerships with key financial institutions. Nyirenda speaks to Simeon Shumba of Business Digest.
It was an idea which was put together. That concept in a paper was well circulated to those that are actually interested, including the regulators, to look at ways by which we can raise the capital from the people. Raising capital from the people meant people are buying shares in that company. They are becoming shareholders or part owners of that particular company. And whatever was collected has been rightfully put to this particular project, which saw us initially into the buying of land. Then thereafter, upon getting necessary approvals, we went on to start the construction. Interestingly, we had actually interested parties that wanted to be part and parcel of this particular project, in particular NBM Development Bank, who later invited EDF to become partners in trying to further finance this particular project to the stage where it is. So NBM Development Bank assisted with the procurement of the machinery, whilst EDF are assisting with the construction of the superstructure, which is the factory itself, which will see us to get into production. We are at a stage when we can say we are about 70% complete in terms of the project. Basically, this entails that we've now done the erection of the superstructure. What's remaining is the roofing. And also, again, we have already commenced the installation of the machinery. We envisage that this project should be able to see itself off completion by the end of December this year, 2024. Sorry.
And Bofomo Nyirenda also told Business Digest that so far, Rudavit has raised 1.3 billion kwacha, but they're still looking for 400 million kwacha to complete the project.
Yeah, so we are still doing capital raise from the members who are interested to buy shares, even for others who are wanting even to increase their original purchase. People are getting very excited so far with what has actually happened because they're able to see where the money is actually going this far. So we are continuing to raise that capital. We had some committed funds with EDF, of which they have done a partial disbursement in terms of the structure where we are at the moment. We still have a significant amount still remaining, but obviously we will still actually require more funding because of the cost escalations, realizing that our application for what we really wanted to invest in this business was done way before devaluation, and we had been working with the same number until now. We are aware that EDF have actually taken it on board because they realize the devaluation which actually took place thereby also affecting the rest of the remaining works to take this project to conclusion. We are in good discussion with EDF because they are also forthcoming in terms of how much really they will be prepared to put in more to make sure that this project comes to its fruit. In respect of the already agreed amount, we haven't exhausted it yet. There's still a balance, but we have provided to them an indication of how much will be required for them to put into that. They have given us a very positive, response in terms of how far they intend to take this, but they need also to go through their normal processes. But otherwise, we are geared because the capital raise is still going on. We are not stopping until this project is actually done. When you look at the numbers, taking into account, I think, the interest that is actually building up onto that, we are already over 1.3 billion kwacha that has been put around into this project. So we are somewhere around 400 million or thereabout just to get this thing into its final completion. And that's about the amount of money which we are in the process of raising, and also which we are making available to our colleagues at our financiers, EDF, to look into quickly financing that. We are actually very confident that we will be able to raise that money from other means, knowing that the shareholders are now getting more excited that they are able to see the project, which was initially just an idea, but finally now we've got a tangible thing that they can look at.
To promote responsible practices in the tea sector, the Tea Association of Malawi, TAMIL, has been spearheading implementation of a gender equality, anti-harassment and non-discrimination policy. Now, one of the steps taken is to foster inclusion of women in management positions through enhanced leadership trainings, among other things. Now, to this effect, the Tea Association of Malawi, in conjunction with Solidaridad, an international non-governmental organization that focuses on producer support, supply chains, and market development, facilitated a training for women in leadership positions from the southern region tea estates, and it was held at Luchenza in Cholo. Now, out of 60,000 people working in the Malawi tea sector, 65% are women. Now, I spoke to TAMIL Chief Executive Officer Tonda Chinangwa.
As an industry which has a lot of women in its workforce, but also for smallholders, out of the 23,000, 65% are women. We need to have a proper gender balance within our leadership so that whenever the industry is moving forward or we're making decisions, those decisions take into account all the peculiar needs of each of these two genders within the industry. So we have a gender coordinator within the secretariat of the Tea Association. So she will have a responsibility of continually monitoring the attendance to these trainings to see how they are progressing and developing, but also what other continual support that they may need for them to progress within their careers, to ensure that they don't simply attend the training and get certificates, but actually that this training translates into meaningful progress of women ascending the leadership ladders within these various members of the Tea Association of Malawi. I think the tea industry is one of the industries that has a robust policy framework. We have a gender policy which we launched in 2017, and on the 25th of May this year, we launched a revised policy. So this policy has set into effect a regulatory mechanisms that puts in place robust systems to ensure that we don't only recognize, we promote, but also we protect the rights of all employees, including women, within the tea value chain. And because of this, you would find that the ills that were there previously are now simply history, but we want to continue to do better, but also to set best practices that now we are able to share with other industries that come to learn from us on what we have done.
Certification manager at Eastern Produce Limited, Esther Katunga, shares how the knowledge she has acquired will help develop her workstation.
It actually gives you a self-evaluation. You actually sit down and think through about yourself. So I feel like the knowledge that I've actually gained today, it won't end with me, because I'm representing a few women that I've left behind, and I'll share with them. Well, I had to actually inquire a few trainings because I think the training today was also about the same that we as female women we should actually have some time to acquire some skills. So I think when I go home and actually when I also share with a few ladies that I've left behind who actually need to do acquire some skills, some training, so that actually we can get to those positions.
While you're watching Business Digest with me, Arthur Chokoto, stick around for more. Project Innovation Center, PIC, is proposing that teaching students ICT skills should start at primary school level in all schools across the country. PIC Chief Executive Officer Kondwani Kachambangwira made the proposal in Blantyre when he was administering ICT and manufacturing skills to student teachers at the Blantyre Teachers Training College. Ngwira believes the schools should also have manufacturing clubs, just as they have religion and health-related clubs. Now, Business Digest Justin Kweu engaged Ngwira in this interview.
It's the same project that we initiated, training Malawians in manufacturing, but this time around we have added a component of ICT targeting teachers, both primary and secondary school. ICT, we are looking at website development. We are training teachers how to create a website with the purpose of ensuring that when they go back to school, they should engage management and create a school website. There are so many success stories that happen in various districts, in various schools, but the world doesn't know because they are not displayed. We have some young footballers in districts, secondary schools, that play and have got special skills, but because they're not connected, the future is not clear. With the coming in of websites, with this teacher creating websites, we believe such success stories, skills will be shared online and everyone can appreciate what is happening. Secondly, the world is going digital now. E-learning is everywhere. If they are introduced to e-learning at university level, then it will really be a problem. We have to introduce them to e-learning light at a tender age. So we believe when these teachers understand website creation, they create websites, they manage them, they will now even easily introduce pupils to e-learning. And as they grow, it will be an excellent concept.
Now, one of the lecturers at the institution, Ida Kachikuo, expressed gratitude to PIC for the training, describing it as an eye-opener.
The training is very important to us as lecturers as well as our student teachers. Why am I saying so? To us as lecturers, as we are going to be lecturing in our classes, we are going to use the skills to impart to our student teachers. Not only these who are right here, up to 18 students, no, but others will be coming in. Not only to student teachers, but to us as lecturers. We are going to use these skills to develop our homes, and we are going to be doing a lot of things, and we are going to be innovative enough and venture into various business activities. The relevance of, previously, as you know, our school curriculum doesn't involve those skills as website as well as manufacturing. What we were intended for recently is just to teach our students some of the not very much important. How many, for example, I can give an example for science. How many legs do a grasshopper have? Whereby these students are not going to know. Of course, they know the legs of the grasshoppers, but it's of no use to them.
Well, moving on with the program, a UK-based conservation expert, Alex Hudson, has tipped Malawians to invest in sustainable interventions of protecting Mulanje Mountain in a bid to restore its lost glory of tourism attraction. Now, Hudson, from the Botanic Gardens Conservation International, said this during the pass-out ceremony of 26 community forest scouts in Mulanje. This comes as the country is celebrating the tourism month, where various activities have been lined up as part of creating awareness and promoting the sector.
It's extremely important to tourism. The mountain is an amazing resource, it's beautiful. We should have more people coming to visit it as tourists to get up there and see the landscapes. But for them to really appreciate it, they need to appreciate the nature that is provided by the mountain, and that's from the bottom, going from the Miombo all the way up to the forest that are right at the top of the mountain. So having those natural areas intact is going to provide a lot more for the tourists to want to see, and that's going to provide a positive driver to allow more tourists to come and actually to want to come, because it's such a unique mountain. The more that uniqueness is preserved, the more value this has to tourists to come and to provide back into the communities in the area. So it's extremely important. Yeah, what we're expecting to happen is through interventions within the reserve areas, within the co-management blocks, to stop fires from happening, to stop illegal logging and illegal cutting practices from happening, but to create a system where people can still go and use the resources in a sustainable way so that they're not depleted, so that they're going to be available to people a long time into the future for what is there, but also to allow some of the resources that have already gone to regenerate and come back naturally. So particularly in the Miombo regions, the Miombo woodlands have a great capacity to come back even when it's all completely seemingly gone. It can come back from what is there in the ground. So firstly, to have that happen, to have that protection happen to the Miombo woodlands, at the same time putting those practices in, helping develop some new potential businesses so that people can have better benefits from those resources and they have more value so that they don't need to be cut down. We would like to see that created. And at the same time create some benefits away from the forest itself, so including some of the native species in agroforestry where they're grown within the crops, so that people can use the resources on their land or in the community areas a bit more, reducing the needs to go into the forest reserve as much to cut it down.
The community scouts have graduated under We Forest, an organization that is championing restoration of Mulanje Mountain by implementing a number of interventions among communities in Mulanje and Palombe districts.
Yeah, finally, I'm happy that finally we have our graduates that have graduated to assist the number of people who can help to do the law enforcement. You know, cutting down of trees in whatever way, including setting fires and other things, it's a major problem that is wiping out all the natural resources from the large mountain. Now, if we empower communities to assist the government in terms of law enforcement, especially these community scouts, I'm sure we will see those cases going down as we go along. Our strategy is going still up to 2035. We'll still be doing those trainings, and even there are some areas which were not yet there. But we'll be expanding as we go along, making sure that everybody is reached out. In addition to that, we also have another project for the next 4 years. It's starting this year in November, which is being funded through our partners such as InterAid. And that InterAid project mainly is focusing on Palombe. So it means our expansion to Palombe is guaranteed with that funding from InterAid. Okay, so the initiative is that we need also to look at some other livelihoods support for the communities living around the mountain. Because if we just enforce law but without an alternative, without daily livelihoods, it means they will not stop getting natural support from Mulanje Mountain. Therefore, one of the income generating activities for people around is that beekeeping. And we also think of also introducing the mushroom cultivation so that people can be able to sell mushroom. For honey, because we are just starting, so we want to create partnerships with other organizations who have that expertise to help us. For example, WESIM is one of the organizations in Malawi which has expertise in honey production. So we are partnering with the WESIM. Again, we are calling upon some organizations who might wish to partner with us. So if they listen to this message, they're most welcome. They can come to us so we can form partnerships so that they can help promoting honey production and improve sales.
Alcoholic beverages producer Castel Malawi Limited has committed 20 million kwacha to an employee volunteering charity initiative which aims at contributing to community support and strengthening the relationship between Castile Malawi and local communities. Under this initiative, Castile Malawi employees are making efforts to reach communities, hear their stories, and find sustainable solutions to establish long-lasting relationships. Now, over the weekend, the employees reached 2 centers in Blantyre, Tidzale Rana Shelter and Courageous Kids Foundation, where they interacted with the beneficiaries and donated various food and non-food items. Linda Colomba is Castile Malawi's Corporate Social Responsibility CSR Manager.
This program, it's under Castile Employees Volunteering Program. This program, it's actually, the initiative is coming from the employees themselves. On our behalf as Castile Malawi, we actually wanted to engage with our communities. So this is a program that, we could have donated, we could have maybe few people to go and just donate these items, but we actually wanted to involve the employees more.
And now let's hear from Tidzale Rana Shelter Manager Frank Banda.
I'm really proud and glad for the coming in of Castile to support Tidzale Shelter. This makes some of the problems that we're facing be a little bit lessened, because as you're going to see them be coming with the donation, and also they are promising to work with Tidzale Shelter as a partnership to help some of the problems that Tidzale Shelter is facing.
And now let's wrap up the program by hearing from Courageous Kids Foundation's mother and founder, Courageous Musasa.
A lot of donation from Castile, and as a mother and the founder of Courageous Kids Foundation, honestly speaking, I'm so happy.
And now let's take a look at how the Malawi kwacha is faring against other foreign currencies. Today's inspirational quote, we are saying, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. That was said by Marcus Aurelius, History of the Romans. Well, right can never be wrong, or wrong can never be right, no matter how much it is repeated. Well, that's it for this week's edition of Business Digest. From me, Arthur Chokoto, on behalf of the entire Business Digest crew, it's thanks for watching. Think business, develop yourself, and develop the country. Keep watching MBC TV.